You've probably seen this picture before. It went stupidly viral before its actual story even released, and that fame has only grown since. But why? Is it the impact of the image itself, the popularity of the character, or how much of an absolute banger its associated music track is? Well, maybe it is all of those, but also there's something that I think is way bigger a contributor to this being as hyped as it is. What if I told you that Wither This Path of Thorns, also known as Mizu5, the 5th key event focused on Akiyama Mizuki, is an absolute masterwork in storytelling, not stopping at the visual novel, but the game, the rhythm game, the song, the social media posts, the gacha cards, and so much more, including new game features color palettes introduced purely for this event. There's so much to break down, from in-story symbolism to subtle lyrics, not so subtle lyrics, and how all of this comes together to portray the absolute hopelessness of Mizu5. Quick warning, this is an overanalysis of the story and everything surrounding it, so there are going to be spoilers for Wither This Path of Thorns, and possibly any event leading up to it. But I will not be talking about the next Night Court event that is currently only on the Japanese version of the game, as much as I really want to, but we'll get there when we get there. The storytelling actually begins before the event itself starts, as the previous event, A Light Drawn Closer, teases its following Night Court event at the end of the last chapter, with Mizuki saying she would also like to move forward. Fans following the story would be able to guess that Mizuki would finally be trying to tell Night Court, or at least Ena, the secret she's been hiding this entire time, hinted at throughout the story in everything from area conversations, the main story, and even song lyrics. So, when the next Night Court event is announced, confirming that Mizuki wants to tell Ena her secrets, and the official posts hit you with this art? Something isn't right. The insane theories people had aside, the existence of this image and it being the event story's splash art already sets an ominous tension over the entire story. Even during, actually, especially during, the happy times N25 spend at the school festival. And right before the festival, Rui meets with Mizuki and she tells him that she has resolved to tell Night Court everything about herself. Rui says he can only hope that her heart will be protected from harm, or in the English translation, that she can get to be herself. This kind of prayer often doesn't go ignored by the plot itself in most media, but even with Rui's reassurance, we've already seen the card art. Something is going to go wrong. You don't know what or how, you just know it will. Of course, Untrained Card Art doesn't stop there. The Ena Untrained art inspired a million fan theories on its own too, but it more or less confirms before you've started the story that whatever tragic thing happens, it's between Ena and Mizuki. Also, there's Mafuyu enjoying some squid. Probably enjoying it anyway. But also, can we appreciate that Mafuyu is smiling now while talking in a relaxed voice during the school festival?
そうだね。人類のあり方について少し考えた。
I know the logical explanation is that the festival is packed with people, so she's always going to keep up somewhat of a persona, but let me have this. We all could do with a little positivity right now, okay? But on the topic of card arts, we might as well delve into some of the symbolism. You've probably heard of the red string of fate, which we can kinda see in the trained cards. Starting from Ena's card, the red ribbon emerges from the water as Ena watches it closely with a pained expression. As it travels off screen, you can see this as a white fog obscuring the red, or you can see it as the colour of the ribbon being drained from it as it leaves the frame. Moving to Mafuyu's card, we see the red ribbon here as well, only Mafuyu is only observing it as it wraps around the handle of this lone, upturned umbrella. Not only that, but it is only red at the handle, and if you look, you can see the ribbon is broken in multiple places. The red, the life, fate itself no longer flowing in the ribbon. In Kaito's card, we see him lying with nothing but painful regret by the torn apart ribbon. All three cards acknowledge the ribbon, even knowing that it's losing life. But the card that doesn't see it is Mizuki's. A colourless ribbon goes through the foreground of Mizuki's trained card, entirely ignored, showing that N25, at this point in time, cannot reach Mizuki. Not only that, but we can see the ribbon is the same as the one on Mizuki's dress, meaning perhaps the ribbon is supposed to connect Ena and Mizuki, but that connection has been severed, and any hope Ena has of saving Mizuki in this story is gone. There's also a massive colour contrast between Mizuki and the other characters. Ena, Mafuyu, and Kaito's cards are all predominantly white, symbolising cleanliness, purity, and even holiness, whereas Mizuki's card is devoid of light and disconnected from the others, meaning Mizuki may not view herself as these things, and that's really really sad. The holiness angle also means that Night Court are to be Mizuki's guardian angels or saviors of sorts, which, unfortunately, are not reaching her at this time. As if it couldn't get sadder, Mizuki's pose in this card seems entirely lifeless, like the mannequins around her, with all of her limbs hanging fairly limp, except for her head, tilted upwards as if held up by a string, like a lifeless marionette, or you know. If it seems that last interpretation is a stretch, there is far more of that symbolism in the story and in the song Back in No Hana, so don't you worry. Speaking of which, Mizuki's card is almost devoid of all colour except the red in her dress, which I don't think I need to spell out to you what that can symbolise with the rest of what we've been talking about. Also, Mizuki's card is called It's All Over, which is kind of funny with the meme. Just trying to lighten the mood a bit. Anyway, back to depression. Going back to Mafuyu's card, notice how Mafuyu just watches the umbrella from a distance with this concerned expression, as if that, for one, isn't her umbrella, and two, she's really concerned for its owner. Well, that would make sense. When you think of a previous event where Mafuyu was in need of help, and that event, We Escaped to Survive, has a trained Mizuki card where she is holding out her umbrella to the camera, and given that event story, it's a safe bet to say the card is showing Mafuyu's point of view. This supports how this red ribbon of fate is supposed to go to Mizuki, but has been left behind, abandoned, and broken. Next, going to Ena's card, she's lying down atop the water, gazing at the ribbon, yes, but her pose and setting also mirrors Mizuki's first 3-star card, Unyielding Obsession. In that card, Mizuki is also lying atop the water, and you can see a very different, true expression in her reflection, showing us the pain she's been hiding since and before the beginning of Project Sekai's story. Ena, looking into the water like this, is, with the red ribbon, as if she's trying to find that reflection of Mizuki in the water, her expression one of excruciating pain and regret, wishing she had seen and known Mizuki's pain back then. Also, since you could think this red ribbon is supposed to tie Ena and Mizuki together, as it seemingly starts from Ena's card, the water it emerges from could be seen as the pool of water in the new World Link area of the empty Sekai, showing that it's actually the connection between Mizuki and Night Court itself which has been severed. This brings us onto some of the absolute pain delivered by Back in No Hana. First off, banger of a song. I hope you're ready to have it picked in all of your co-op lobbies for the next however long though. The most obvious thing about Back in No Hana is it's pretty freaking intense at 180 BPM with some insane kick drums. Though you guys who've played the End of the Expert and Master know all about that. This is the first Mizuki focus song to sound so chaotic, and even the announcement that this event would have a song by Nakiso contributed to people's theory crafting on how badly Mizuki's confession would go. Moreover, the unofficial translation of the title of the song is Flower of Transformation. The kanji used in Bake means to transform, take the form of something, or even to influence or delude, thus the unofficial title Flower of Transformation. Which does make sense in context of Mizuki's worst fear of everything becoming irrevocably different, even if N25 accepted her. However, the kanji is also used in bakemono, meaning monster, thus leading to the official translation, Monstrous Flower. Which, when you consider this song being predominantly sung from Mizuki's own perspective, then for Mizuki to view herself as that is so freaking sad. It continues with the lyrics, "I'm just like a monstrous flower that bloomed too soon. There's no turning back to a bud." Again, this encapsulates Mizuki's worst fear from everything changing due to her reveal, but also implying that with her secret revealed, she thinks Night Court have seen her bloom into a monster. Remember, in Chapter 7, Mizuki isn't actually in earshot when Student A outs her to Ena. That conversation happens before Mizuki arrives. Instead, she opens the door, sees Ena, sees her 3 classmates, then sees Ena's expression, and, doubtless, arrived at the worst possible conclusion she could. Even if logically, she knew Ena is so kind and would accept her. Logic doesn't always overcome emotion, and that's evident through the lyrics of Back in No Hana. Adding to that, the 2D music video also has all of the characters looking down at the camera and narrowing their eyes, with only Mizuki looking upwards. Also, Mizuki never appears next to another N25 character in this MV, only seen visibly separated from Kaito. To add to that, Mizuki is visibly separated again from Night Court when you get a full combo on the master difficulty of the song, showing the number 1003, showing Mizuki as the 1, spaced away from the number 3, representing the distance between Mizuki and the rest of Night Court. Mizuki's hand is also by the handle of a door, presumably locking it shut. This all goes together with the verse lyrics. What's with that look? Again, that look. Then I wish you'd disappear. All of you, just go away. Just go away. Just go away. Just go away. Stay with me. As much as Mizuki wants to run away and leave N25 forever, even she can't help but admit that she wants to be together with them again. But now, as much as she wants that, she thinks it's entirely impossible because of the monster she is. And so, we get the final lyrics of Back in No Hana. If it's not going to be understood in the future, then disappear right here, right now, monstrous flower. First off, this is sung by Mizuki and Kaito, meaning, damn, didn't think Kaito was such a gamer. Now! While there are definitely a few ways you can interpret this line, one of them gets clarified real quick within the next lines. To put an end to the punishment, stop breathing. Ah, no more. As if that isn't sad enough, it's worded as a punishment, which could be Mizuki seeing this as what she deserves for having delayed her confession to Ena for so long and running away instead, but the alternative interpretation is that she sees it as a punishment for her very existence as a monstrous flower, which again is so sad. Turning back to the event story for a moment, we get happy times with Night Court at 25. Just ignore that Mizuki is treating this like the last time she can ever have fun with Night Court. You know, like it's her last day on Earth. Though Mizuki is worried about seeing her classmates, she prioritizes having fun with the group, pushing past it, thinking everything is going to be okay and she'll be able to confess her secret properly to Ena afterwards. This chapter gives an onslaught of nice little happenings to convince you everything's going to be normal. From the wacky performance by Tsukasa and Rui's class, to the banter about Mizuki and Ena about her squid stall, and also this nice bit where Anne pushes Mizuki towards her own class's cosplay event. Bearing in mind, Anne already knows Mizuki's secret, so it implies Anne can help Mizuki enjoy the activity while protecting her identity and keeping her comfortable. Another one of those nice little things is when Ena notices Mizuki's discomfort and nervousness as they approach the rooftop. So she starts a little small talk about the festival itself, which Mizuki notices and appreciates. But since we already know the thumbnail card for the event, it casts even more tension over Mizuki and even Rui's hopes as we read forward, worrying that some classmate will appear and ruin everything. The tension lets up a bit as the group meet Toya on reception duty instead of student A or someone like that. That leads us onto some pretty crazy symbolism in the escape room. For the school festival, Mizuki's class has set up an escape room for groups to play, solving riddles one after another to get out within a time limit. A lot of it is Mafuryu carrying the team by being built different, the occasional Kanade assist, and Ena feeling real stupid. By the final riddle, Ena ignores the crossword they're supposed to solve to get a hint, and takes a shot in the dark at the solution instead, using how well she knows Mizuki as her clue. She guesses that the next hint would be hidden in one of the stuffed bears, as Mizuki was far more likely to hide it somewhere like that. However, as she unzips the back, she gets a note saying,
残念って書いてある.
She's wrong. Instead, Mizuki says the final objective was actually above them, with a bear hanging. Oh god. The symbolism is pretty clear from here. It's endearing that Ena thought she knew Mizuki enough to get her secret, but she gets it incorrect, and instead Mizuki is hanging from the ceiling, showing how Ena has no hope of reaching and saving Mizuki in this event story. That being said, Mizuki is happy at this because actually, left on her own, where Ena guessed Mizuki would leave the riddle solution would have been completely correct. Instead, it was Toya's idea to have the bear hang from the ceiling as an additional layer of intrigue. Now, I'm not saying Toya is student A, but in this scenario, he is symbolizing an external force, a third party, that gets between Ena and Mizuki, not only causing Ena, who was so close to finding Mizuki, to be unable to reach her, but also pushing Mizuki towards, well, you know. Just for clarity, Toya didn't do this, it's just symbolism, okay? Toya is not student A, okay? Okay. Oh, and they... You really went there, huh? The entire escape room can be viewed as Night Court themselves being unable to escape, meaning Mizuki is unable to escape her fate this time around, and perhaps all of them are unable to escape from their own pains. I guess only time will tell on that one. Finally, the confrontation. First off, can we get a round of applause and a standing ovation for the voice actors, please? Like, I know the voice acting in Project SEKAI is always good, but oh my god, did Hinasato and Minori Suzuki absolutely kill it in the studio for these chapters. Get it? Kill it? Okay, let's stop. As mentioned, Mizuki didn't actually hear what student A said to Ena, and she runs after likely concluding the worst in her head. When Ena runs to catch up to her, Mizuki knows that the problem wouldn't be that she nor the rest of Night Court wouldn't accept her for who she is, but instead that everything would forever be slightly different, treating her like a delicate flower, as she puts it in the official translation. And that hits so hard. What also hits different probably isn't actually what Mizuki says or what Ena says, but what Ena doesn't say. She is utterly speechless, barely able to utter Mizuki's name in desperation, and not much more than that. I mean, imagine you're Ena for a moment. You genuinely had no idea about Mizuki's secret at all, and it gets revealed in such a nonchalant way by a third party. The only thing Ena knew for sure was that Mizuki was hurting, and her friend needed help. But how? She had no idea what to say, what to do, nothing but an exasperated regret at how hopeless this all was. I just really want to praise the voice actors once more. I wish I could hear it all again for the first time, because it just hits so different. And one of the things that does make the scene hit so incredibly is that, if you'll let my amateur musician side cook for a little bit, is the soundtrack. In a previous Mizuki event, and now I wear this ribbon, the background music, Each Pain, is played. If you thought that this is a Mizuki theme, I'd forgive you for thinking that, as it and its relative song play in Mizuki events. I'd argue you're kinda wrong. This is a theme for specifically Ena and Mizuki together. This track starts playing during a scene when Mizuki and Ena in the past hardly knew each other and still spoke formally. But the track begins as Ena lets a bit of frustration show and begins to drop the formality.
別にわからなくてもいいんです。私はアミヤさんがこの絵をどう感じたか聞きたいんです。っていうか、いいって思わないならそうだってはっきり言ってくれませんか？もちろん全然ダメって言われるのは死ぬほど嫌ですけど、でもダメなのにお世辞でいいって言われるのはもっと嫌なんです。なるほど、そういう受け取り方もあるんだ。確かにそれもイメージつくな。でも最初に書いたのとは全然変わるし。
Closer to that brash, tough love personality we know Ena for in the modern stories. The two of them argued over their interpretations of Kanade's song, but were able to come to an agreement in the end. This song represents being honest and opening up to one another about, cue the title drop, each of their pains, rather than silently nodding to the other's interpretation. And the important part for Mizu5 is not just the theme as a whole, but mainly this leitmotif here. This, and the rest of it, would be used again in the Mizuki5 Chapter 8 theme, Unbearable Pain. And I mean, just the name alone tells you a lot. When you hear a name like that, you imagine a theme of absolute unending despair, minor keys, heavy instrumentation, and the like. However, each Pain's melody is in the key of G major, giving it a happy sound, to put it simply, contrasting the instrumentation and theming to give an overall somber tone. Unbearable Pain is pitched down by 3 semitones, putting it into the key of E major, adding to the distorted tones and those reversed synth sounds we hear in this track, creating this unnerving sense that, despite the happy sounding major key, something isn't quite right. This conveys a sense of unease during Mizuki's monologue, with the musical juxtaposition representing both of their worlds flipping upside down, that heart-sinking feeling of knowing something horrible is about to happen or happening right now, and you know you need to do something, anything, but you just don't know what. The piano phrase heard in Each Pain is cut short, just like Mizuki's time with Night Chord. Then it is sampled and repeated each beat instead, representing the chaos of both of their minds in the moment, and about how fruitless Ena's attempt to reach Mizuki is. Along with this repetition, it all comes to a head at the melody right before the track loops, with a delightfully positive musical phrase, as if the characters are having all of their happy memories flash before their eyes, before the end, and hope is taken away. There is a third music track later that also uses this leitmotif, but that's for another time. The story doesn't finish there though. At the very end of chapter 8, Mizuki speaks in one long voice line, unlike any other dialogue in the game, allowing you to skip forward but only the text on screen. If you don't tap to progress to text, Mizuki's voice keeps going, showing that you cannot stop what is happening to Mizuki, and there is no hope of going back anymore.
自業自得だな。逃げて、逃げて、逃げ続けて。いっそ誰か話してくれって思ってたんだから。願い通りになったじゃないか。ああ、消えたいな。
This is followed by the longest fade to black the game will ever do. Before, as you were warned before reading this chapter, Mizuki disappears from the overworld. Finally, at the end of the event itself, we have two more pieces of storytelling. The Aftershow simply shows a normal live performance with Night Court at 25. What? Mizuki is back with Night Court? I guess everything is alright. Until the other members fade away, and it reveals that this is just Mizuki's fading hope of being with Night Court again, accepting in the end that it's impossible.
バカだな。もうみんなとは歌えないのに。
The other extra storytelling is actually with No Hana. Songs made for the rhythm game are always cut short to fit the game's ideal time frame. So when an event ends, the full 2D music video and song are released officially on YouTube. So a lot of people were pretty hopeful for the full version of No Hana to not only, you know, be a banger, but also contribute more lore and lyrics around the event story and Mizuki. But when you look, the official full version of the song is the exact same length as the short game version, meaning there was never any hope in the first place. That really was it. That was the end. Now, if this was all a bit too depressing, then hopefully you'll stick around with Sekai for about another month waiting for the next Night Court event story, because while I promise not to spoil it here, that next story is absolutely phenomenal as well. While this is only the first event story I'm discussing on the channel, I'm sure to discuss the next Night Court event as well, and many more stories and characters down the line. So if you'd like more of that, please consider subscribing and supporting the channel with a like. I feel like I covered everything I wanted to with this video, but even so, I feel like I've probably missed some things. And for certain, there are ways this event will resonate with some people in ways it cannot resonate with me, such as this viewer from my main channel on my main Discord, who, after reading Mizu5 for the first time, had this beautiful paragraph to say about it. If you have any interpretations of your own, or points about the story or Mizuki as a character you'd like to share, please do in the comments below. I'm all here for more story and character discussion. As the first video essay here, I'm still deciding how long these should be. Do you think this one should have been longer, shorter? Let me know. If you feel like I'm missing something that gets covered in the next Night Court event, by the way, I'm probably saving it for then. Let's try and be spoiler free for that one. In any case, I hope you have a lovely day, and I'll see you in the next one.